Hey you guys, sorry, I'm literally shaking right now. I never thought I would have to sit down and make a video like this, but I think it's time that I addressed the elephant in the room, which is I think it's important that we finally address the cat in the room because I get so many comments on this guy right here. It's called a meow and I won it at VidCon during a game of skee ball, and by that I mean my friend Funky Frogbait won it and gifted it to me because they knew I wanted this one specifically and I am a child. But anyway, moving on. Hello, my name is Stanzi Potenza. Welcome back, and also welcome to all of the haters and losers who want me dead, quite frankly. It's sad, really. But no, I'm sure there are some people who are actually hate watching this right now, which is fine, okay? It pays to be loathed. This is something that I've thought about talking about for a long time, but I wasn't really sure how to go about it, and recently I've talked to a lot more creators about like accountability culture on the internet, because a lot of other creators have dealt with like cancellation in varying degrees, and they too have wanted to talk about it but have hesitated because of how intense people can be online. I've been thinking about this a lot over the past 2 years, but even more so recently after the smear campaign against Twitch streamer Hasan Piker, who was being accused of using a shock collar on his dog Kaya in one of his Twitch streams. The video was clipped and started making its rounds on the internet and was being pushed by some of Hasan's biggest haters like Ethan Klein, XQC, Laura Loomer, like, yeah, that Laura Loomer. And it was also being pushed by creators on the left who were calling him a deplorable animal abuser. Hasan addressed this almost immediately, saying that no, he didn't shock her, and she yelped on stream because she clipped her dew paw when she was getting back on her bed. However, this did not stop creators from hopping on the hate train and making more and more videos about him and straight up ignoring his response, saying that he was just lying, despite the video evidence that can be viewed when you allow your eyeballs to view the screen in front of you by opening your eyelids. Allow me to demonstrate for you. Some have suggested he altered the collar. Some have suggested he got an overnight delivery for a new non-shock collar. And even if they acknowledged it wasn't a shock collar, they moved the goalpost, saying, well, he should have been nicer to her. He shouldn't have been yelling at her on stream. And why is he making her sit there for 8 hours a day? And much like the song Dynamite by Tayo Cruz, it goes on and on and on, like a deeply stupid and vicious game of telephone. This is part of the callout playbook, which gets used over and over again when the internet picks their new target of the week. And I'm gonna break down how this usually goes. Creator says or does something that a lot of people have a negative reaction to. People on TikTok start talking about it, making videos about it, leaving comments about it, and then large drama farming creators will start making their response videos to said thing. The controversy migrates to Twitter, which fans the flames. Other creators will start adding on to the conversation with additional reasons why they don't like said person. It might even be because of a personal experience they've had with that person. And the original creator's comments and messages, etc., get flooded by an angry mob. Now, the original creator has 2, maybe 3 choices. Option 1 is defending themselves, which is often poorly received and can make the situation worse, so it's not the best option. Option 2 is ignoring it, depending on the severity of your controversy. When people realize they're not going to get what they want out of you, they'll eventually get bored and move on to the next victim on the chopping block, because there's always a new, fresh piece of meat that's much more enticing than last week's leftovers. And if they don't move on, it's probably because they're a weirdo that needs to be blocked. And that might offend some people, but if you're spending a significant amount of time harassing a stranger online, cyber stalking them, making alternative accounts to leave additional hate comments, you're a friendless, jobless loser that needs to go get their scripts refilled. Come on, kids, let's get medicated. Let's get medicated up in here. Ooh, here comes the train. Choo-choo. Yummy medicine. Ooh. Like, I saw a comment recently where someone was like, she's already blocked me on 4 accounts. 4 accounts? Get a hobby, you gremlin! All that tells me is that you're lacking parental love. But it is genuinely weirdo behavior, so those people shouldn't be taken seriously anyway. Then there's option 3. The creator can make an apology video. They can apologize for whatever they said or did. Now, this might go over well, but it might not. It might actually make it a lot worse. These apology videos are often met with a lot of criticism, usually over the lack of sincerity in the video. Apology videos get made fun of a lot. They get turned into memes. Most notoriously, we have Colleen Ballinger's Toxic Gossip Train video, which, you know, was a choice, but the term ukulele apology now gets used every time a creator gets canceled. There's always at least one comment being like, I can't wait for the ukulele apology, where's the ukulele apology at? And I have seen some creators talk about this a little bit because I think a lot of people are getting tired of this aspect of accountability culture because it is a losing game. People will continuously demand a creator make an apology video, and then when they do make an apology video, it's not good enough or it gets mocked. So what is it that you actually want? Because you say that you want accountability, but then when they take accountability, it's not good enough because they're only doing this because they got called out. And like, yeah, you fucking dodo bird, of course they're only making the video because they got called out. They just had thousands of people demanding an apology from them. Are you that delusional that you think relentless harassment will lead to some moment of moral clarity and enlightenment? You're not Jesus reforming a sinner. You're a chronically online internet troll with way too much time on their hands. And people have started to recognize these patterns. They see that their apology will not be met with forgiveness. But if you're calling someone out and they're not given space to learn and grow, they're not going to take you seriously, which in my opinion does a lot more harm than good. Here's what I think people actually want. I think people want to feel powerful. They want to feel like they're doing something. And maybe people focus on niche internet discourse because they feel powerless and vulnerable in the face of some of the more significant issues that we face in our country and across the globe. Maybe you can't overthrow an oppressive government, but you can bully a random internet person into privating their account. Some people genuinely view their harassment as a form of justice. It's not bullying, it's holding someone accountable. Which is bullshit, by the way, and many people have already talked about this, about how you can't hold someone accountable that you're not in community with. Like, why would you think you could hold someone accountable when they don't know who the fuck you are? And a lot of people don't seem to know what accountability actually is. It isn't spamming someone's comment section, calling them names, sending them death threats, threatening to dox them, dogpiling on them. And I'm actually mutuals with a lot of creators that talk about a lot of this internet discourse. But they actually add something to the conversation by providing additional information, thoughtful criticism, different perspectives, which is good. It's thought-provoking. What are you adding to the conversation besides a pitchfork? And this is about viewers and creators alike, because a lot of these call-out creators are just drama farming because that is the foundation their account is built on. They need someone else to talk about in order for their account to thrive. It's actually profitable for them to latch on to the internet villain of the week. There's a TikTok creator named Christian Divine who made a really good video about this a while ago, so I'll show you a clip of that.
We're having an interesting moment on this app on the left, just in general, and there's something I kind of want to point out. When a big creator fucks up, it's like when a whale dies. When a whale dies, it sinks to the bottom of the ocean and it becomes this entire ecosystem that thousands of creatures get to feed and sustain themselves off of. In the case of TikTok, that whale is the engagement of that person fucking up. If you fuck up, you become that whale. They will eat you alive the same way that you served up others on a plate to be eaten by that same audience.
I love the way he put this. The creator being canceled, aka the dead whale, becomes an ecosystem for various creatures, aka the other creators. But when you slip up, which you will, you're done. You're done because all you had was your moral superiority. You never offered anything else. And I think a lot of those channels start because of just that. You didn't have a hobby or a talent or an interest to talk about. You just started talking about other people and got hyped up for it and started gaining followers because of that. And you might have even been able to monetize it. It's also worth noting that some of these creators have ulterior motives because they already don't like the person that's being called out. For example, in Hasan's case, he immediately started getting called out by creators who already fucking hate him. Ethan Klein immediately hopped on that shit like he was Charlie finding the golden fucking ticket. Other streamers that Hasan has been critical of in the past jumped on it, including a lot of the liberal chorus content creators that were called out in the Taylor Lorenz Wired article. And regardless of how you feel about some of these creators, it's something you should be aware of. You shouldn't always take these accusations at face value. You should be critical because a lot of times there is some underlying bias. And look, if you want to bully someone, like, just bully someone, dude. I respect you way more if you're just a hater. Honest to God, dude. I'm from the Formspring era, okay? We told each other to kill ourselves all the time. Back in my day, you could tell anyone to kill themselves, and sometimes they would. You can just dislike something or someone for no reason at all. Isn't that freeing? Don't you feel lighter? I see this happen a lot in fandom and fan fiction spaces. Like, there's this thing happening called Kinktober, and I don't really know anything about it other than the discourse videos that I've seen about it, but from what I gather, it is full of a lot of people being like, I don't like this thing, I think it's wrong, it makes me uncomfortable, and if you like that thing, that makes you a morally bad person. And a lot of the people leaving comments like that are like 15-year-olds. I'm sorry, you're 15, you have no fucking place in a conversation about something called Kinktober. You're like a newborn baby. You're basically still an egg, okay? Go back to the kids' table, okay? Shoo. You don't need a moral reason to dislike something in order to justify disliking it. You don't. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was America, where I can dislike anything I want for any reason at all. Oh, I didn't realize I was in communist China. Don't disguise it as social justice because, and this might be hard for you to hear, you're not making the world a better place. You're not going to cyberbully the world out of fascism by doing this. In fact, you're probably making it worse, especially when it comes to things like kink and sex culture. Because while you might think that shaming sex workers and people in those 18+ communities is some form of social justice, it's actually just repackaged evangelical propaganda. This culture around accountability will often fail to do anything productive because it's full of bad actors. It's full of people who get off on the power trip they get when they're hyped up for a hate comment they left or a video that they've made. And I think this is relevant to a larger conversation about over-policing and the surveillance state. A lot of people who claim to want accountability actually want retribution. They don't want people to learn from their mistakes and do better. They want them to be banished from the public eye. I've seen 2 separate instances recently occurring at baseball games where some shitty baseball fan has stolen a ball or a hat from a kid, which is shitty, by the way. You shouldn't do that. Why are you stealing from children? But when these videos go viral, there are always people in the comments section who are trying to identify the shitty adult. And they do, and they then will start posting personal information about them, like their place of work, where they live, who they are, their social media accounts, their friends' social media accounts. And usually the goal here is to get that person fired from their job. And regardless of how shitty you think that person is, that is not normal behavior. We should not be encouraging others to dox strangers online and get them fired from their jobs. And it's the same thing with the Coldplay concert with the cheating couple, which the whole internet was joking about. I mean, me included. But then it turned into another instance of people trying to identify these individuals and get them fired from their jobs, which they were. And before I continue, look here. Look here. I acknowledge what they did was shitty, okay? Hey!
I don't condone cheating.
But the internet banding together to identify and dox strangers on the internet so they can get them fired from their jobs in this economy is weird and bad, and we shouldn't encourage it. And it happens all the time now for really minor offenses. People now record every slightly unpleasant interaction they have with a stranger in public. This guy posted this video of him confronting two girls that cut in front of him at a concert, and the caption was like, "Internet, do your thing. Like, can we find them?" And do what exactly? Stone them? People are constantly going online and talking about friendship trauma that they're experiencing, and the internet sleuths will do some digging and be like, oh, I found the person that they're talking about. It's this person. They'll find their TikTok, their Instagram, and start sending hate comments. Like, okay, you're harassing someone you don't know on behalf of someone else you don't know. That's not normal. That's not a hobby. Do some crafts. Go to the movies. Do something else besides like sit on TikTok all day and get absorbed into drama that has nothing to do with you. People are gonna be assholes, okay? People are going to say and do shitty things. People are gonna have like weird, toxic relationships. I've had my own tumultuous relationships in my past. It's just how life fucking works. We don't need to invite the judge, jury, and executioner into every human experience. You have to kill the cop in your head. This level of surveillance is cop behavior. I know, it can be infuriating when you see a video of someone being a fucking asshole, but that's also not your sign to throw on a cape and become an internet vigilante. Every day we're seeing more and more of this push for moral purity, but it's not making society better, it's making it more puritanical. These are modern day witch hunts, and I know that might make me sound like a boomer, okay? Like a bitter old man. Oh, that pesky woke mob is at it again. You can't even hit your wife anymore. You know, back in my day, all of my college buddies had 14-year-old girlfriends. They were very mature for their age. Some people do use these talking points to normalize bigoted behavior. And there are people out there that deserve to be deplatformed. I get it, and I think that's why people are afraid to talk about these things, because they're afraid of coming across as like anti-woke. I think we've been putting off this conversation for a long time, and I don't think it's anti-woke at all. The standards that people hold themselves to on the internet do not reflect the real world. In many ways, the internet is a bubble. Like, I remember one of the first times I got heat for something online, I was also having one of the best weeks of my life. I was living in New York, I had my first 3 stand-up shows, my friends had surprised me by flying in for my shows, and they stayed the weekend. I had a billboard in Times Square. I was getting ready to move to LA, and it was like this. It was like I would look at my phone and it would be like, it was the first time that I realized that a lot of this shit doesn't matter. Internet discourse doesn't infiltrate society in the way some people think it does, excluding the death threats and the doxing. Like, no one in Dunkin' Donuts cares about your niche internet drama. And the moral purity that we seek online is not compatible with society. People are going to say and do shitty things. They're going to like and support things that you don't agree with. We all have different lived experiences. We're nurtured by the environments that we were born into, and our worldview is shaped by the people around us and the things that we've experienced. Internet personalities are a lot more accepted accessible to their audiences, which nurtures parasocial relationships, both positive and negative parasocial relationships. And TikTok has made this worse in a way because they've made it very easy for anyone to share any thought they've ever had and post it and have it go viral. So it's much easier to overwhelm someone online than in real life because this discourse doesn't necessarily follow them in offline spaces. In the real world, people aren't just good or bad. You're allowed to unfollow, block, cut someone out of your life for any reason whatsoever, but that doesn't automatically make them a morally bad person we all need to campaign against, especially when it's just another internet stranger. And there's nuance to this, as there often is. Like, if you're a fascist person, I don't care about any other opinion that you have. And for me, and I know a lot of other people across the globe, watching the genocide in Gaza over the past 2 years has been very eye-opening in regards to the people in my life. I've unfollowed mutuals, and I've had these lengthy conversations with friends and family. And some of those conversations got heated, but I was happy to see with my family specifically that they also started to speak about Gaza. And because I actually wanted to educate them and make them care about this, I just talked to them about it and shared my opinions. I didn't lecture them or belittle them because I wanted them to sincerely understand. And people's opinions can change. Like, people are capable of changing their minds, including me. Like, literally right after October 7th, I had a conversation with my dad where I was like, man, like, people really want me to start talking about this, and like, I don't know, like, I just don't know enough about it, and it's like all so complicated. And then literally a week later, like on my fucking birthday, I was completely on board with the Free Palestine train, and I made a video about it expressing my support for Palestinians, and I started fundraising. And I was nervous to do so at first because this was like still really early on, and like there weren't a lot of people talking about it, like definitely not as many as there are now, but I wanted to do it because I felt a moral obligation, not because I felt pressured to do so. And this isn't me saying that you shouldn't pressure celebrities into speaking out. Like, you should. Like, you should. But in general, I think people need to be more thoughtful about how they go about getting public support for causes that they care about and successfully changing people's minds. Like, I currently get people scolding me for not speaking out about Gaza, which if you did a swift search, you would find all of the videos I've made about it and the fundraisers that I've held for it. Don't yell at me, we're on this, I agree, I even had people recently that were pushing the narrative that I was MAGA.
MAGA?
And I think it's partially due to the fact that I have a Make America Great Again hat that came with a Trump costume. And I wear it in some of my videos when I'm making fun of conservatives. And despite the fact that in the description of the video, I'll literally be like, before you ask,
it's from a costume,
I'll still get a bunch of comments being like, why do you have that hat? Oh, I think we know why she has that hat. We all know who you voted for. You're an idiot. Your last brain cell is locked in a padded room talking to itself. It must be, because how could you genuinely come to that conclusion when my creator journey started with me making anti-Trump videos, which I've been making regularly for 5 years? You know what else I have? A rat costume. Does that make me the king of the rats? Does that mean I'm scurrying around in your garbage? Wouldn't you like to know? Find out next time in The Sewers. Like, we are constantly trying to expose creators on the left. It is exhausting. Like, Hasan being a little snippy with his dog on stream doesn't make him an animal abuser, yet thousands of people were tagging PETA and the ASPCA in videos about him. This happens relentlessly. A lot of times to creators who are like, generally trying to do good. They're doing it with fucking Zoran Mamdani right now. They didn't like something he said and now they're like, when are we gonna admit that he's a liberal? They're like, he's just another lib. He's not gonna do anything that he promised. I'm sorry, what else? What else do you want? Your only other option is Andrew Cuomo. Like, is that the better option? Is that who you want? Is this your man? Sometimes it feels like the left is as solid as a Nature's Valley granola bar. You're never going to be perfectly aligned with a political figure, a celebrity, a creator, any human being. They're not a reflection of your morals. Every single one of us has a different set of values. We've experienced different things. We're knowledgeable about different things. We're entertained by different things. We've consumed different types of media, which is allegedly what makes the world so great, that we're all different people coming from different walks of life. But the internet is like a landmine, and if you misstep or have a controversial opinion, you risk becoming the sacrifice of the week. A hot new bombshell has entered the dungeons. People will say they want authenticity, but react like they want compliance. And I think that's the last thing we need. We already have the government trying to censor us. We don't need to be doing this to each other. I don't want to be media trained. I know that I can be a bitch sometimes. I'm going to say shit that you don't like. I'm going to have opinions that you don't agree with. I have a whole life outside of the internet. A stranger doesn't get to decide who I am as a person because of something I did that pissed them off. And this goes for both sides, like people who like me and hate me. I'm not the cartoonish villain that you've built up in your head, but I'm also not a savior whose only sin was loving too much. At the end of the day, I'm not good or bad. I'm just a girl with a great rack and a generally fun personality depending on how my stomach's feeling that day. You might have heard people say, this is the kind of thing that drives people to the right. People critique this statement by saying things like, being woke could never drive me right. One annoying person wouldn't make me suddenly vote against human rights. And the problem with this is that the people who are saying that are already firmly on the left. Like, they already have a solid enough understanding of social and political issues and have formed their own opinions. When we're talking about people being pushed right, we're not talking about leftists, we're talking about people who exist in the center, which is a lot of people, by the way. Like, of course you would have that opinion when you're thinking about it from your own perspective as someone who's already firmly on the left. But if you're someone that hasn't fully bought into left-wing ideology and you're exposed to some of the insufferable infighting we experience and also perhaps some right-wing indoctrination, yeah, I could see why you might take a few steps right. The left does a great job at being like, well, my morals are bigger than your morals, and the right does a great job at being like, hey kid, hey, I got some propaganda in the back of my van. Oh, don't be shy, come on, it's right over here. Don't tell your mom, okay? If you only exist online and engage with left-wing spaces, it becomes an echo chamber. But there are a lot of people in this country that don't feel as strongly as you do about certain issues, and it's not even because they're firmly against those things, it's because they don't understand. Especially in poor parts of the country that are underfunded and not getting quality education. Like, if you're someone that's experiencing poverty, that's all you're going to think about. Like, people are consumed by their own personal circumstances. And even when it comes to Republicans, like, I don't think that every Republican is a bad person. And that might piss some people off, but not every Republican is a MAGA insurrectionist. Some of them are people who are voting a certain way because they genuinely think that it's going to make their lives better. Which makes sense, because Republicans are constantly lying about making the country better, you know, making America great again, right? They hype up their voter base saying like, yeah, we're gonna make America great again. Meanwhile, they're cutting funding for things like healthcare and education. And they also villainize the shit out of the Democrats, telling them that they're all under attack, that they're under constant threat because the Democrats want them dead. It's part of the propaganda machine. And I know that I have changed the minds of at least 2 Republicans in my extended family just by having conversations with them about social and political issues. Like, even my mom the other day was like, yeah, I had a conversation with so-and-so and I think I really got through to them about this thing. And because I know these people intimately, I know that they're not bad people. They just don't understand. And I'm saying this as someone that makes fun of Republicans all the time because there are hateful and violent people in this country. But I also think that we have to have more compassion for people that we're not totally aligned with. And again, I'm not talking about fascists. I'm talking about people who can actually be swayed if they're given more information. They're not going to be swayed by people who call them evil Nazis or fascists. They're not going to be swayed by people on the left who make jokes about natural disasters tearing through southern states and killing people and telling them this is what you voted for. I've seen a lot of people being like, fuck them, I don't want to work with them. Alright, you do you. But those are the people who will flock to the right if we don't try to meet them where they're at. That gotcha moment might make you feel great, but you're not changing anyone's mind. You're just getting gassed up by people who already agree with you. We actually need more people on our side. Like, this isn't fucking Berghain, okay? We're not an exclusive club with a line out the door. We're starting to look more like a TSA security line where everyone that's walking through is getting conflicting instructions and being aggressively yelled at. Should the laptop be in the bag or out of the bag, please? I just want to see my family again. We need to stop relentlessly yelling at each other. The only people who benefit from that are the ultra wealthy in power who are counting on you yelling side to side instead of up. And just so we're clear, this isn't me saying that you can't critique things you don't agree with. You can't critique creators, including me, and celebrities, and politicians. It's actually a necessary part of this ecosystem. You're allowed to share your thoughts and opinions on things, but it does get to a point. Like, take the recent Taylor Swift discourse. She gets criticized for a lot of things, like not being vocal enough with her platform on social and political issues, her billionaire status. But there was one creator that made a think piece about Taylor Swift, and that video was getting a lot of attention because in one of Taylor Swift's songs, in regards to Travis Kelce, she says, "I want the whole block looking like you." And that creator interpreted that line as, "I want to have your white babies and live in a racially homogenous society."
Have a couple kids, have the whole block looking like you. And say that again. I want to have your white babies, and I actually want our entire neighborhood to be racially homogenous.
Which many are calling a reach. Not all, I mean, she still had, last time I checked, like 600,000 likes on that video, so obviously some people agree with her. Nevertheless, I do think it is a bit of a reach to translate "I wanna pop out a bunch of your kids" to "I'm pro-segregation." They're also saying she's transitioning into becoming a trad wife, which is just, it's just not true. She's a billionaire. She is the breadwinner. Getting married and having children shouldn't be something we deem right-wing, unless you want the next generation of children waddling around like, "My pronouns are USA." Valid criticism exists, but it gets muddled by people who create problems where there are none and pair their arguments with a scarlet MAGA. This was such a long yap fest, and I covered a lot of different things, but they are all related. If we want to win elections and make real change in the world, we have to shift our focus and redirect our energy. We have always and will continue to live amongst people we don't always see eye to eye with, and your personal moral compass is not a blueprint for society. You can't banish everyone you disagree with to the ends of the earth. You can't get every shitty person fired from their job, nor should you. Accountability culture is nothing more than the performance of justice. But taking down the bad guy that you've built up in your head doesn't make positive change in the real world. At the end of the day, it's simply immersive reality TV. It's entertainment. It's a digital rage room. Demanding perfection will lead us down a path to failure, but productive dialogue will put us back on the right track. Thank you for watching today's video. Stay informed, think critically, breathe deeply, and try not to lose your fucking minds. And I will see you on the next one.